fighters. Their dimensions are very similar, but one number that could stand out is the age 32 of Mendez. But I believe that if Heraldez and his camps are thinking that this is a fighter that's over the hill at that age, they should think again. He's got 2 wins and a draw in his last 3 fights, and he still has plenty in the tank.
Rules for our fights tonight: no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. The referee or doctor can stop the fight. A fighter can't be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental foul or headbutt causes a fight to end within 4 rounds, it's a no decision. After 4 rounds, they go to the scorecards for a technical decision. And here with the official introductions, Hall of Fame ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and we welcome you to Barclays Center here in Brooklyn, New York, as Premier Boxing Champions presents a big night of action coming your way, brought to you by Bomb Squad Promotions, TGB Promotions, Mayweather Promotions, and Showtime. Tonight's action is sponsored by MGM Resorts and Brooklyn Boxing, and we introduce to you our 3 judges scoring this bout from ringside, all from the state of New York. We have John Basile, Julie Letterman, and Kevin Morgan. Introducing our 3rd man to the ring, the referee in charge of the action, Johnny Callis. All right, fans, here we go. 10 rounds of boxing scheduled in a super lightweight special attraction. Introducing you first on my left, he is fighting out of the red corner, wearing red trunks with blue and white trim, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York by way of the Dominican Republic. He weighed in at 140 pounds. His record stands at 25 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, and 1 no decision, with 12 of his wins coming by way of knockout. Please welcome the former IBF Junior Lightweight Champion of the world, introducing Argenis Mendez. His opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with white, green, and gold trim, fighting out of and representing his home of Las Vegas, Nevada. His weight 140.5 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign in the ring with a record of 16 wins, no losses, 10 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the rising super lightweight contender, introducing the undefeated Juan Heraldez. Once again, referee in charge. Now to give instructions, Johnny Callis.
You have a golden voice. Absolutely. Come on. Argenis, Juan, you received your instructions in the dressing room. I want you to protect yourself at all times, but above all, obey my commands at all times. First now, first command, touch gloves. When the bell rings, box. Good luck.
So we are set for our first of 3 tilts coming your way tonight from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. A 140-pound matchup. The referee is Johnny Callis.
Let's go.
The bell and round 1, the undefeated Juan Heraldez in the red with white, green, and gold trim. Argenis Mendez in the red with blue and white trim. Mendez backing up Heraldez early.
There's no question that Heraldez is facing the toughest fighter of his career. Mendez, as you mentioned, was a champion. He's fought much tougher competition, has much more experience. So for Heraldez, this, as he said, this is my coming out party. I have the skills, I want to use them.
The California-born Heraldez says he's living his Mexican-born parents' American dream.
And this is a sink or swim fight at a certain point in every prospect's career. Heraldez has had a good career thus far, and so there comes that point where you step up. And you step up, you do face sometimes some faded ex-champions, but when you're fighting an ex-champion who's not as faded like Mendez is, he's not saying he's in his prime, but it's definitely your step up because it's a threat fight. But winning it puts your career into a different trajectory.
The 28-year-old Heraldez has faced some sharp sparring, being in there with the likes of Floyd Mayweather, Canelo, Ryota Murata, Matthew Hatton, Mike Katsides, Jorge Linares. He's definitely got some experience in the gym.
Mendez is going to try and pressure him. There's no question about that. And we've seen evidence of that already in this fight.
Heraldez trying to establish the jab, sharp jab right through the guard of Mendez. Minute and a half remaining in the opening round. Scheduled for 10.
Neither man is a volume puncher. Mendez averages 45 punches a round, Heraldez 48, and in this first round, they've both only thrown 12 punches so far, so it's a tactical fight right now.
Yeah, and Heraldez throws that jab. He doesn't step into it fully. What you're looking to do there when you throw a jab and you're not stepping in, you're looking to counter. You're looking for a reaction from your opponent so you can step back and counter, because Heraldez throws that jab but doesn't fully extend it.
Under a minute left in the opening round, Mendez trying to target the body.
See, like right there, he's looking to bait something out of Mendez so he can counter it.
Very much a feeling out process here in the opening 3 minutes. Mendez just out of reach of the double jab of Heraldez. Final 30 seconds.
Is the left hand of Mendez. He thinks he can get that in during this fight, an uppercut or a left hook.
There's a sweeping left hook upstairs by Heraldez. Right cross by Heraldez.
Let's take a look at the keys to victory for both these men. For Heraldez, head down. Sometimes he keeps his head straight up, especially when he's going straight backwards. And he's got a very good uppercut, but he's got to be careful with it because when he throws it, he can be countered by the left hook of Mendez. He's got a very nice right hand, and that will be a power weapon that he'll try and use in this 10-rounder. For Mendez, I believe he's going to have to get on the inside. He didn't do that in round 1. The movement of Heraldez gave him problems. And once he's on the inside, he's got to work the body. He's an excellent body puncher. I think the big power punch for him, and he suggested it when we talked to him, is the left hook. He can land that punch.
The bell and round number 2, scheduled for 10 at 140 pounds, and Heraldez and Mendez meet in the center of the ring for a quick exchange. Mendez, a seasoned veteran who may be past his prime at the age of 32. He has had 7 different bouts against current or former champions. And now, when given the hype when he turned pro, some feel he's been a bit of an underachiever.
Well, you know, he's fought very tough competition and did get that title. And now in his last 3 fights, you know, he fought Ivan Redkach and Eddie Ramirez, beat them, had the draw against Anthony Peterson. So I think there's a lot of signs that at 32, he's still a fighter that has something to offer.
There's a 3-punch combination with that left hand getting through the guard of Mendez by Heraldez, and Paulie Heraldez has landed and thrown below the 140-pound average for total punches, so try and increase the RPMs in his motor here in round 2.
Yeah, a lot of the punches are not full commitment, but and people would think, oh, he's not punching hard. I think it's by design. I think he's still trying to open up Mendez by throwing shots with not a lot of muster on them, so Mendez will falsely react and then be opened up for a harder shot. But Mendez also doing some good work.
Yeah, and Al Mendez' good work includes targeting the body.
Yeah, and that's his goal in this fight tonight. He's not cutting the distance as well as he would like against Heraldez.
A minute and a half gone in the second round. Another body shot by Mendez. Heraldez on that front foot, targeting the body with the jab, misses, and the counter left hand upstairs by Mendez. Mendez leading with a left hook that was deflected by the glove of Heraldez, and Heraldez now going to the body.
When Heraldez punches in combination and gets off first, he looks impressive in this fight. Sometimes in his other fights, he's had a lot of lulls offensively.
Mendez, a very educated left hand. He switches it from a jab to a hook very fluidly, and even goes to the body.
Heraldez feinting, trying to get Mendez to commit. Heraldez left hand down along the belt line there, Al, but showing that hand speed.
Yeah, and that's what they want him to do. Leading off with left hooks here, that's something different I haven't seen from him.
Oh, a couple of left hooks and a jab to the midsection, another double jab.
All started with a counter uppercut by Heraldez that sent Mendez backwards, and then follow-up.
Oh, double jab and a right hand that just missed from Mendez, and Mendez again doubling up the jab and trying to follow with that right cross. So it's still simmering, it's percolating here as we head to round 3 of this 140-pound contest between Heraldez and Mendez. Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, I'm here with champion Deontay Wilder. Champ, is animosity and emotion productive or destructive before a fight?
It all depends on how you use it. For me, you know, it's going to benefit me. Going to be able to allow me to use it in being able to catch everything he does, you know, to put on a great show, to be exciting like I always does, and, you know, knock him out.
Have some of the things that you've said been an effort to intimidate him, and do you think it's worked?
Not at all. I'm not in this business to intimidate no one. I'm very serious about what I say. I'm very serious about what I do. I always say I'm the realest champion in the business because of my personality, because of my realness. I don't want to scare a person in the ring with me. It don't do me no justice to whoop someone that's scared, but it does me all the justice to whoop someone that's brave. If I want to be able to have bragging rights, to look myself in the mirror and say I've done it, and the man was very brave. He came with everything he had, and he gave the people what he wanted. I mean, he gave the people a show to see, and that's all it's about, giving the fans what they paid for. They pay their well-earned money to do it, and that's what I'm here for.
Deontay, best of luck. We'll talk to you after the fight.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Wilder's voice dripping with intensity. The verbal warfare will morph into heavyweight hostility coming up in the main event as Mendez continues to connect on Heraldez here in the start of round 3.
That was a nice counter left hook by Mendez. He needs to get that punch in if he's going to win this fight.
And to show how educated Mendez' left hand is, he was actually countered and switched punches with the same hand. He countered with a jab and then turned it to a hook off a counter. It's a lot of guys lead with that, but he actually did that right off the counter.
And there's a vast chasm when it comes to experience coming into this fight. Mendez had fought 223 pro rounds compared to just 67 for Heraldez. And Heraldez going to the chest with the jab, probably trying to follow up with that left hook upstairs. And we know that Floyd Mayweather was known for doing that.
Probably saw that in those sparring sessions.
And actually Marcos Maidana as well. Just ask Adrian Burke.
It's true. You know, Mendez's corner expected Heraldez to move a lot more in this fight. He's staying in the pocket a lot more than I think they would have expected.
Nice combination by Heraldez, but missed with that right uppercut on the inside. Another body shot by Mendez. Interesting story. Heraldez went to a sporting goods store when he was a young child wanting to buy a skateboard, saw a speed bag, jump rope, and boxing gloves, decided to buy that instead, and here he is, 28 years of age, 16-0, with 10 wins inside the distance.
That was fortuitous that he made that choice, huh?
Instead of the X Games, he wound up on Showtime Championship Boxing.
Nicely done.
How do you figure?
And speaking of games, Mendez represented the Dominican Republic in the 2004 Olympic Games.
He had a fine amateur career. This round, Mendez has picked up the pace, throwing more punches and being a little bit more effective.
Speaking of the amateur career, Heraldez faced undefeated welterweight champion Errol Spence in the unpaid ranks.
And he said it was a very close decision that he might have been able to even win.
Mendez now covering more ground as far as walking down Heraldez.
Again, going to the body with that right hand.
And this is going to be interesting to see how the inexperienced Heraldez, who's a good prospect, but is probably facing this kind of pressure for the first time in his career in a pro fight.
Good point.
Mendez making those necessary investments to the body here in the early part of this scheduled 10-round affair. And Mendez doing a good job of scoring to the body.
Hey, great job. All right, you're still doing well. But we need to think with our jab a little bit more, right? Everything you do, you need to be in motion doing it. Make sense? I need the right hand over the top sometimes.
Double jab?
Not over your fast foot. I need you on your feet for that. On your back toes. You're pushing. I need you to turn that way. Turn to your right. Turn to your right. Listen.
Hand, body and head, okay?
Let me see that. Let's move those hands. You move those hands pretty good this round. Okay? Pretty good. And that jab, you see you touching them, right? You listening? You're touching them. He's trying to set you up for a right hand. You see it? Okay? So be ready. I need good speed. You're doing beautiful, okay?
This is round number 4, and Al, we've been talking about Mendez work to the body. Heraldez has landed over 32% of his landed punches have been body shots up to this point in his career.
Yeah, he's also very good. We've seen some signs of that with his left hook downstairs. This is different Mendez in the last round and this round now, really pushing the action. And as Paulie pointed out, the big question is how well does Heraldez respond to this?
And Paulie Heraldez has been economical and accurate with his power punches up to this point. Anything you see that you would like to, see make adjustments thus far here in the early stages of this fight?
He fights well at that middle distance. He's just not busy enough. Mendez is starting to be a little bit more creative and forcing him backwards. But I'd say Heraldez will probably drop in some feints because he's got good speed. So when you have good speed, you can make your opponent bite on some more feints. So I'd say he probably could use some more feints at this distance and see if he can get some false reactions out of Mendez in which he can make him pay.
And interestingly, it's Mendez who's doing more of the feinting right now.
Yeah, Mendez seems a bit more comfortable. There's a feint from Heraldez there. I'd say Mendez seems a bit more comfortable at this stage in the fight.
Mendez 25-5 with 2 draws and 1 no decision. 12 wins via form of knockout. This is his 3rd bout at 140 pounds. Heraldez, he's been at 140 or 147 his entire career.
Yeah, he's the more natural 140-pounder. And they thought that was a big advantage for Heraldez. We'll see if it ends up being that.
Move that right hand over the top.
So some feinting, some double jabs. They're trying to figure each other out, trying to collect that data, so to speak.
Also, Heraldez giving the same look consistently, maybe changing the look a little bit, like his mentor Floyd Mayweather does. He gives a lot of different looks. Sometimes that can, change the trajectory of Mendez's thinking process.
And they said in the corner a little more movement from Heraldez. They want that.
And Mendez popping that jab from the hip, a la Roy Jones Jr.
Yes. Mendez would do well to double with that jab as well and then walk him down.
Jab from Heraldez seemed to momentarily bother Mendez.
Close round, very close round.
Let's go to Jim Gray.
All right, Mo here with Dominic Breazeale. Dominic, is it good to go into a fight with disdain for your opponent?
You know, going into a fight, no, definitely. Camp, it was great. It was a great motivator. But tonight, it's all business, strictly business. Keep it professional and go in and do business.
How do you put it aside then?
Mental. You know, I've always said sports and boxing are just 80% mental, 20% physical. Tonight's night to be 80% mental. I'm fully focused.
Second opportunity at a title bout. What did you learn from the first time that you can apply here this evening?
You know, I'm gracious to be back on the stage again. This is for the second time on a world title. I think of this opportunity. You know, I learned in the first one that I didn't do enough. I held back too much and I gave my opponent too much respect. Tonight, I'm respecting myself. I'm going to stay on my mental focus, stay on my A game, and show what I can do as opposed to what my opponent can.
Best of luck, and we'll talk to you afterwards.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, Mauro, back out to you.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Dominic Breazeale working with respected trainer Virgil Hunter for the first time. We'll see what wrinkles he has added to Breazeale's game coming up in the much-anticipated main event. Right now, this is round 5 of a 140-pound contest between Argenis Mendez and Juan Heraldez.
You know, this is a 10-round fight, not a 12-rounder. And so you look at these rounds, even early going, and they're important. Heraldez probably won the first 2 rounds, and round 3 clearly went to Mendez. That 4th round was the one that's, I think, in doubt probably, and how that went really helped shift this fight a little bit.
And if you're just joining us, Heraldez undefeated at 16-0 with 10 knockouts in the red with white, green, and gold trim. Mendez, a former 122-pound belt holder in the red with blue and white trim. And both targeting the body, and then Mendez going upstairs with a couple of short left hooks.
It's obvious that Mendez was not quite on the same page as me in the keys to victory.
Oh, solid right hand, right uppercut by Heraldez.
Well, that's the uppercut from Heraldez that we thought he would use. Mendez has not gotten on the inside. He has not pushed his way in and worked that body like he wants to.
Heraldez pot shots Mendez with the jab. There was a counter jab from Mendez.
More reactions now from Heraldez. He's reacting better. He's getting off first more this round. And that's what he needed to do. You know, a lot of times.
Oh, what a right hand down the middle that Heraldez wore well.
Yeah, they both throw a right hand at the same time. And sometimes the risk of that is you walk into the other guy's right hand if yours doesn't land.
And the action getting hotter than a billboard in Times Square here in round number 5.
Some blood on the nose of Heraldez, probably courtesy of that right hand.
Yeah, there was a double impact. He walked into it.
So they've kicked into another gear here as we are into the final minute of the 5th, and Mendez attacking Heraldez on the ropes.
You know, Mendez like a shark. He saw the blood, and now he became the aggressor. After Heraldez had been having a pretty good round to that point.
It's kind of a seminal moment in this fight. The power of Mendez has made a difference.
Yeah, chopping right hand over the top by Mendez that scored. Under 30 seconds left in the 5th. The most action we have seen in the fight, and Mendez with a short left uppercut to the body just above the belt line with 20 seconds now left in the 5th frame.
I mentioned Mendez's left hook, but he is very aware to land that right and just threw a counter right.
We are at the midway point of this 140-pound contest between Argenis Mendez and Juan Heraldez.
Come on, keep him up, keep him up. Come on.
Heraldez lands the right hand. That was a little kind of an early portion of the round. And you see him using that uppercut. It's a key weapon for him. And nice combination there by Heraldez. We'll look at it again from a different angle. The right hand.
Part of it is actually blocked. Some of the shoulder takes something off, but he still lands it very well.
Yeah, he got it in there to the head. It wasn't the perfect right hand by any stretch.
Listen to me. Look at me. You look great. Okay, you okay?
Watch your hands up, close the gap. Go combination, Henry.
Henry, está golpeando ese round. Toca con el doble jab y va abajo, ¿ok? Que la mano arriba, ¿ok?
With the double jab. Keep going with the double jab and keep your hands up. Let's go.
I thought Mendez had the better right hand that round, though.
Yes,
I thought his
definitely.
right hand was a stronger shot.
Yep.
Round number 6. And Mendez, who has been down 3 times in his career. Heraldez has been down once. We'll see if there is an uptick in the offense. You look at the show stats, Al, neither known for their activity. They need to pump up the volume when it comes to offense.
Yeah, they're not big volume punchers, and both men have tried a little bit. You know, Otis Pimpleton, I think, giving great advice to Mendez to double with the jab. He has not done that enough.
Mendez from the Dominican Republic, now living in Brooklyn.
Although in that last round, he was very effective.
Let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood. How do you have it at the midpoint of this fight?
Mo, let me start by saying, Harold, this one's for you. And I have it 3 rounds to 2 for Heraldez. Heraldez has scored better with his jab. This is a boxing match, but whether it's a boxing match or a punching match, you judge, you score according to who lands the better blows, and the sharper blows have been scored by Heraldez. But it's only 3-2. I have it 48-47 Heraldez after 5.
And on behalf of us here at Showtime Boxing, as Heraldez lands that right cross, we all want to send along our sympathy, deepest condolences to the family of one of boxing's best ambassadors. You will never find a bigger boxing fan than the late Harold Letterman. May he rest in power.
One of the most beloved figures in boxing. You know, nice right hand a moment ago by Heraldez. He's had 2 or 3 of those, but so has Mendez.
Yeah, and Heraldez did it nicely the way you're supposed to. Hit and not get hit. He shot that sharp right hand and got out of range from Mendez's return.
One of Al's keys to victory for Mendez was work the body, but it's Heraldez who is getting in the better and more frequent body shots as this fight progresses.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I think it's because there's a nice left hook downstairs by Mendez. It's because Mendez hasn't closed the distance and gotten himself inside where he can do better body work.
And remember the instructions Heraldez got a few rounds ago from the corner: use your legs, move around more, and that obviously complicates the situation.
Heraldez is trying to jumpstart his offense here in round 6.
That complicates the situation more for Mendez to get to the body if he can't close range. So here Mendez should be cutting the ring off instead of just turning his body as Heraldez moves around.
Mendez with a sharp jab. Counter shot by Mendez. 6 rounds are in the books here at Barclays in Brooklyn. And it's Santa Claus in spring. Yes, the annual visit to the boxing ring of the one and only Mr. Gary Russell Jr. And with him, he brings gifts. The fastest hands in boxing. And he will look to make the 4th defense of his 126-pound title. Hey, he says he wants to be busier, but he's called out the likes of Leo Santa Cruz. He says if he can't get a unification fight with Santa Cruz, should he get past Kiko Martinez tonight, he's even talking about moving up in weight and challenging the likes of Gervonta Davis. But tonight, Gary Russell Jr. takes on Kiko Martinez. Martinez looking for another title in his 50th professional fight.
I know, but let's touch him. Hey, give me a face. I want you to give me a face.
We begin round 7. This fight at 140 pounds, scheduled for 10. Mauro Ranallo along with Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi at ringside. We are, of course, joined by Brian Custer, Jim Gray, Steve Farhood, and the Crack Showtime Championship Boxing crew. And we continue to watch this fight unfold. And Al, what are things that are sticking up for you thus far?
I think a couple of things are important. Heraldez has been able to control the geography of this fight a little bit better, and maybe that's winning him more rounds than Mendez. That's a question. And I think a big part of that is that Mendez hasn't followed his corner's advice to double jab his way in, and where he can then throw left hooks to the body and the head. But for Heraldez, just enough leg movement has helped him do that, and Steve Farhood believes that Heraldez has done enough to be ahead in this fight.
That shot bumped Mendez a little bit. Good right hand by Heraldez.
Heraldez continues to try to establish the jab. Goes to the body with the right hand. Mendez with the high guard, but not returning fire, but blocking those left hands.
We discussed a few rounds ago how Heraldez would react to the pressure of Mendez. Well, he's reacted, and he's reacted with character.
Just past the midway point of round number 7. Jab to the body by Heraldez. Doesn't follow up with the right hand, however. There's a double jab splitting the guard and just misses with the right cross. Mendez cutting off the ring and now misses with the right hand.
Punch, step back. Come on.
Final minute of the 7th stanza. Right hand blocked by Mendez. Mendez cutting off the ring, Paulie, but he's got to get busy.
Not really, because Heraldez is able to still turn the corner. Also, the thing is, with Mendez, he doesn't punch his way into range. He won't throw a punch unless he finds range, but sometimes you have to use punches to get into range, because Heraldez given better movement in the second part of the fight, and Mendez has not been able to make that adjustment. There he's trying to punch his way in, and see what happens when he does. He's able to put some stuff together.
Yeah, Heraldez, you're right, circling away from the ropes, resetting in the center of the ring. Attacking the body again, stabbing Mendez with the jab. Counter left hook from Mendez.
Well, we're a tight-knit group, this family that puts on Showtime Championship Boxing, and one of our members is at his last Showtime Championship match that he's participating in. Jody Heaps, our senior creative director. He is a talented writer and producer and a valued member of our team. He's won multiple Emmys for his great work. He is also a Renaissance man, is a gifted playwright, and he has done a lot for this series for 30 years, and we will miss him.
I respect him for his connection to Canada.
Exactly.
I want you to 3 minutes in round, okay? I need you to take the middle back.
Round 1, este es el 8 ya, güey.
You're boxing, okay? But he's running in the shot. You're not going to do it. Okay? Keep working. Shoot right here.
We begin round 8, scheduled for 10 at 140 pounds. Juan Heraldez looking for his 17th straight win to begin his career. Argenis Mendez wants to prove there's still a lot left in his career.
And a couple of good shots to start the round. He's got to turn some momentum around.
Step back.
Let's see, maybe a clash of heads.
Headbutt. You're good. It's good. Watch your heads. Watch your heads.
Heraldez feinting, pawing with the jab, but it's Mendez that sticks him with the jab upstairs. Oh, right hand to the body by Mendez. And Heraldez continues to target the sternum area of the jab.
You know, back in round number 3, Mendez had a very good round and started to really put pressure on Heraldez. And Paulie saliently pointed out at that moment that this fight might turn on how Heraldez dealt with that pressure. Guess what? He's dealt with it well.
Jab by Heraldez, splits the guard. Mendez coming forward. Sticks the jab upstairs. Again, some blood trickling out of the nostril of Heraldez.
Mendez has had himself a big start to this round.
Yeah, left uppercut on the inside lands for Mendez. Just past the halfway point of the round. Left hook upstairs and then a shot to the body by Heraldez. Our unofficial score, Steve Hard has Heraldez up by 3 points after 7.
And heading into these last rounds, Heraldez is 2-0 in 10-round fights. Mendez, interesting, has never gone 10, but he's been 12 rounds several times.
Triple jab, but not really like, oh, there was a counter jab, and then Mendez was staggered by the punch, and Heraldez, and then Mendez counters.
And nice little counter, and that backed off Heraldez, which was Mendez is really looking for a break. So yeah, as educated as Mendez's left hand is on offense, on defense he gets it a lot with right hand, so that side doesn't defend well, even though he attacks well his left side.
Of course, we mentioned Floyd Mayweather is a mentor of Heraldez, known for that pole counter, Al, and of course so many other tricks of the trade.
Many that have caught on with some other fighters. Sometimes they don't execute them as well.
Shoulder roll, of course, the check hook. Remember the Ricky Hatton fight?
Yes, you can forget.
And well, we are heading to the 9th round. Both Mendez and Heraldez looking for a memorable finish in this fight. They got 6 minutes left to do so.
Mendez.
And again, they traded right hands.
Yeah, lands a right hand as they traded right. And that has happened quite a bit in this fight. So that was Mendez's, one of his better shots in the round. Heraldez pawing with the jab and using that as a rangefinder to get the right hand in. And that was one that stunned Mendez toward the middle of that round.
Mendez came back with a counter right hand at that point.
Yes.
There's our colleague, our buddy Brendan Schaub, his stand-up comedy special. You'd be surprised, premiered last night on Showtime, and you would be surprised at the many talents of the podcaster, television personality, and now, of course, for the last few years, stand-up comic. It's not easy, but congratulations to Brendan Schaub. Let's hope these guys don't go below the belt.
Sharply dressed. I like that shirt.
Let's go. Watch your heads.
He'll be happy to hear that.
Keep it clean.
This is the penultimate round, Al. Round number 9, scheduled for 10.
Interesting stat. Heraldez has gone to the body not only with those left hooks, but the jab. 21 of the 61 landed jabs he has are to the body. So this has been he said this was his coming out party and he wanted to put on the best performance so far. And of the video I've seen, I think this is the best performance Heraldez has had.
There's another right hand on Heraldez, and again, Mendez susceptible to taking that shot.
And he was able to sneak the right hand behind the guard after momentarily blinding Mendez with a jab.
For Mendez, this is a round in which he's got to start making something happen. He may well need a knockdown or something in the last 2 rounds to give himself a chance to win this fight, and Steve Farland certainly thinks that.
Heraldez has been down once, as I mentioned, knocked down against Jose Borrego in the 9th round on the Mayweather-McGregor undercard. The Ranger Heraldez, though, handed Borrego his first loss in 14 fights via 10-round unanimous decision. Paulie, how do you assess the pace, the methodology of this fight?
Well, the pace is not a hectic pace. I don't think both of these guys will have a problem with stamina, you know. But again, it's been a fight of small adjustments, and the main adjustment, the right hand by Mendez, the main adjustment was, I think, Heraldez using his legs and changing range on Mendez. I do think Mendez had a better round last round. I know Steve didn't give it to him, but I felt Mendez won the last round. Nonetheless, Heraldez has made the adjustments I think necessary to keep him ahead.
Mendez with a combination, but Heraldez able to defend well. Final 60 seconds of the 9th round.
And you know, Mendez is in a position where we believe, though certainly the judges may be seeing it differently, that he may have a little bit of a hole to dig out of. And he's only thrown 17 punches in this round. So
there's a right hand that lands for Heraldez, misses with the right cross, couple of short right hands upstairs by Mendez. Nothing troublesome for Heraldez.
And in a fight where neither guy is super busy, a couple of 1 or 2 right hands that Heraldez is able to land on Mendez.
Oh, left hand by Mendez. Heraldez shakes his head as if to say no. What does that usually mean, Al?
Yes.
Mendez now roughhousing a bit in the uppercut on the inside.
I know everybody Taxes here usually means they're hurt, but it doesn't. It's just more of an embarrassing reaction. Like, okay, you got me with a clean shot, but don't get ahead of yourself.
Keep your hands off his face.
He acknowledged it, though, right?
Yeah, you're acknowledging, like, all right, so you got me. When you're hurt, you don't have the presence of mind to shake your head.
Good point.
A very close 9th round. Heraldez early in the round, again using his jab as a rangefinder, will land the right hand. That has happened a number of times in this fight.
And that replay shows that very well, that how he used the weapon as a blinding shot.
Then later in the round, however, it was Mendez who would get into the power shot, slipping that jab. And there's the left hook that we've been looking for from Mendez so much in this fight.
Don't get lazy.
And he's kept up with the combinations. Those punches not landing perfectly, but you can tell he feels
And he win this round big. Let's go, baby. Let's go, let's go.
This is the 10th and final round. Mendez, in his 3rd fight at 140 pounds, was a 122-pound titleist, defeating Juan Carlos Salgado back in 2013. He's taking on Juan Heraldez, 16-0, 10 knockouts in what, on paper, supposed to be his toughest test, a step-up fight here at Barclays Center in Brooklyn.
Nelson Lopez Jr., who works with the Mendez camp, said this was a do-or-die fight for him, that he needed to win this to get himself back into a situation where he could be a contender. And though there's been some close rounds in this fight, and we'll see how the scoring ends up. But right now, it's important for Mendez to step on the gas.
Again, the jab to the body by Heraldez, who's using his footwork. There's Mendez crashing with the right hand to the temple of Heraldez. And according to our unofficial score, Steve Farhat, Mendez does need to record his 13th knockout victory.
And again, some of those rounds very close, so the judges may have it closer. We'll see. Mendez is showing the urgency here now. And Heraldez moving a lot in this round, feeling perhaps like he's in the four-corner offense.
Greco-Roman wrestling match breaking out here in Brooklyn.
You feel right at home, don't you?
Double jab popped by Heraldez. Mendez coming forward with the right hand.
Heraldez going a little bit into flight. Now he's slowing down. There's a difference between moving and then moving ineffectively and effectively. Heraldez is starting to move a bit ineffectively, and we'll see if that continues or he's able to slow down and put some offense together.
Final minute here of the fight. Mendez coming forward with the jab, misses with the right hand as Heraldez ducks, delivers a jab, and then the right hand, and then left hook, and another left hook. Mendez putting on the pressure here down the stretch.
Mendez should have been doubling with that left hook all during this fight, and finally he does it, and it produces results.
And we've seen in the past where Heraldez has been susceptible to the hooks to the temple.
Exactly.
Left hook by Heraldez. Man, Mendez is mugging Heraldez in the pursuit of victory. Another chopping right hand by Mendez.
This fight's getting close, guys. Last couple of rounds have been close, and this is definitely a Mendez.
The judges will determine the winner of this fight.
Still the adjustments have been made. All of made adjustments, and Mendez went back and made adjustments. This one's close.
Yeah, I agree.
Juan Heraldez wanting to impress his promoter, Floyd Mayweather, in attendance here in BK, enjoying retirement, a life of luxury, and the best boxer of his generation. There's Mauricio Suleiman of the WBC. And there is Juan Heraldez. Will he have improved to 17-0 in his toughest test? America's heavyweight champion making the rounds. He predicts that his fight against Breazeale won't go past 3 rounds, with him successfully defending his title for the 9th time. We will see. And right now we are about to find out who is victorious in this opening contest at 140 pounds. Here is Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Julie Letterman, scores about 97 to 93 in favor of Argenis Mendez. Judges at ringside, John Basili and Kevin Morgan both score the bout 95 to 95, even a draw. The decision is a majority draw.
So the step-up fight for Juan Heraldez proving to indeed be a tough test, and it ends in a draw, with Heraldez suffering the first blemish on his record, now 16-0 with 1 draw. Mendez with the 3rd draw, believe it or not, of his career out.
Hard to argue with a draw. I thought it ended up being a very close fight because of the last couple rounds. And here we look at the numbers. You can see that they're fairly close. Heraldez landing a better percentage, just slightly, of power punches. Very close fight.
Draws.